Jesus Freak here. The thought's come up a few times and it was brought up in the comments in one of my videos. What about me hosting a Bible study? And I said, some of the stuff I've said in the videos or in the comments. See, the church I go to is just a little bit out of the way. It was barely possible to conveniently walk there and back at my old place, and I'm living about a mile further out. So while I can walk there and back, it's not exactly easy. And because of COVID, they stopped the bus route that even headed that way. Now, of course, there's the fact that, I'm just a nobody really there, technically. Because of my status of trying to remain a member of just the church and not a church. Now, the other thing would be, well, what about in your place? And my place is just too small to physically host a Bible study. And I've suggested the possibility of doing it over a teleconferencing app, which we've got a few options here, of which probably the most convenient would be Zoom. Of course, there's the limitation that with the free accounts, you only get 40 minutes time for a conference, which may or may not be enough. I've also looked around at other options. Jim Hall from FreeDOS, he uses a service called BlueJeans, which is owned by Verizon. I mean, I've had issues with Verizon. Verizon's a company I've had some history with, both good and bad, but their service is apparently $12.50 a month for the host and free for the users, which doesn't sound too bad. And it goes down to $10 a month if it's paid a year at a time. So that's a possibility. I could use BlueJeans. So the logistics probably isn't that big a deal. What may be a big deal is, first of all, promotion. And that was a problem with this YouTube channel, too. It's like, I had no traction until I started getting promoted by another channel. And then there's the matter that I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'd probably have to look for, guidance, books, or whatever, to guide me through a Bible study. Or, have someone give me sort of an outline that I could work with. You see, I don't really have the kind of, my one uncle who eventually went into the ministry, he was also a substitute teacher. He was, good at writing sermons and stuff, he was a lot of things I'm not. I can only wing it so far. I mean, just something like, let's start with a certain passage and keep certain things in mind, would probably be enough. And that'd probably be plenty to work off. I mean, I could just keep the notes on hand, keep a simple KJV at hand. Of course, this is all terra incognita. I've never done that stuff myself. I've always relied on others. So, I don't really know where I'd be going with it. Keeping in mind that my local audience tends to be closer to my own faith tradition, which could actually be a negative thing because in my faith tradition, I'm practically a fundy. But that's not true in the faith tradition of most of you watching this. Because it's all relative, you know. If you're comparing me to a Reformed Baptist, yeah, I'm a bit liberal. But if you're comparing me to, say, ELCA or Episcopal Church, I'm extremely conservative. I'm roughly, I believe, in the middle of a faith tradition that has gravitated pretty much toward the center of the fundamentalist divide. You know, the mainline evangelical divide. Our roots are evangelical, and I'm evangelical. But it's a church that's, you know, been resting on its laurels for decades and kind of forgotten where it came from. Which I wish I could do something about, but the requirements in any church to qualify to be ordained even at the lowest level as a minister, if they have deacons at all. I've never been to a United Methodist church that had deacons. I've been to Episcopal churches that did. But Episcopal churches are both larger and deader. I'm not sure I'd be able to fulfill the requirements in my lifetime. And the fact is, it's not really about that at all. I'm running this YouTube channel with no qualifications. Because just to tell you what I think doesn't require that. Anyway, Jesus freak out.